Coming up on Tech News Today, Paul Allen sues AOL. Well, it'll be shorter to tell you who he doesn't sue. Also, Mark Zuckerberg's trying to trademark the word face. What am I going to call this after that? And one developer is so upset about a crack of his software on the Pirate Bay that he wants it to stay to show people how bad the crack is on Pirate Bay. All that and more coming up.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Friday, August 27th, 2010. Tech News Today is brought to you by Slingbox. Watch your favorite TV shows when you're away from home with Slingbox. Check out Slingbox at a Best Buy near you or visit slingbox.com/twit. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Leo Laporte.
Behind the boards, our excellent producer, Erik Lanigan. How you doing, Erik?
Good. How are you guys?
We are ready to talk some technology stories. Actually, legal stories to start off with. Paul Allen, entrepreneur and co-founder of Microsoft, one-time owner of Tech TV, is suing Apple, Google, Facebook, Netflix, YouTube, Yahoo, AOL, eBay, Staples, Office Max, and Office Depot.
Why isn't he suing Microsoft?
Or Amazon.
He is, isn't he?
He's not suing Microsoft or Amazon. They're not named in this lawsuit.
I guess he's a big stockholder in Microsoft.
They said that they haven't decided that they haven't eliminated other people from being sued later. They might widen the circle.
Well, so what's this lawsuit all about anyway?
What is up with this lawsuit? Interval Research was a company who actually did research back in the 90s.
It was kind of blue sky R&D. It was never
Yeah.
intended to be a product company, although now it turns out maybe it was a patent company.
Well, it is now. That's all that's left of it. They have invested $100 million during the internet bubble that has left them with a bunch of patents, and now they are taking 3 of them and suing all the aforementioned companies over, let's see, we've got 3 patents. Browser for use in navigating a body of information with particular application to browsing information represented by audio-visual data.
It's basically it's a search patent.
Attention manager for occupying the peripheral attention of a person in the vicinity of a display device.
Hey you, hey you, hey you, hey you.
Hey, that's a
Hey,
patent
you.
violation. Attention manager for occupying the peripheral attention of a person in the vicinity of a display device. A second patent for the same
It's
thing.
the same thing.
And then
Hey you, hey you, hey you, hey you.
alerting users to items of current interest.
So that, I mean, that one is used across the board.
That's the,
That's-
you know.
everyone does that.
If you like this book, you might also like these books.
Well, I
So
wonder
Paul
if
Allen is saying, well, wait a second. We did this a long time ago and no one else should do it. I mean, but that that's...
No. He did this when Alta Vista was already around and Yahoo was already around. It's not. This is such a vague. This is absurd.
These are pretty wide-ranging patents. The way the courts have been going, they've really put the hammer down on obviousness. This isn't the time for these kind of patents to be sued. Paul Allen seems to have plenty of money. He's talked about giving away half his fortune after Bill Gates called for billionaires to donate to charities. Why now?
If you use the Google real-time search, you see that everybody's commenting on this subject in violation of Paul's patent. I think that they're trying probably to get the money before it really is too late.
So you think this isn't Paul Allen saying, I need money. This is Interval saying, we need to maximize our profit. We need to maximize our bottom line. And if we don't push these now, we'll miss out.
I bet you Interval's not even a company. I bet you it's got to be Paul doing this.
Well, Interval's probably 2 or 3 people at best,
Maybe,
right?
yeah.
I think you're right. It's not a big company. They have a spokesman, David Postman, who said the patents in the lawsuit cover fundamental web tech first developed at Interval Research in the 90s. The company believes are being infringed by major e-commerce and web search companies. Well, if they developed it in the 90s, they've been infringed for years now.
Yeah, why now?
Amazon's been doing this forever.
And why leave out someone like Amazon? I mean, if you've got some sort of vested interest, then this whole thing becomes even more flimsy. I mean, Amazon is like the king of suggesting things to me.
And Microsoft, is he afraid of running into them at the yacht club in Seattle?
Yeah.
Like no
I mean,
Seattle
that makes a little
companies.
more
It's
sense
really
that
embarrassing.
Microsoft wouldn't be part of this, but why? Why not?
Well, they may have another suit tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're also one of the risks in these patent suits is countersuits. Of course, Interval is such a non-entity, you really can't countersue them for their own patent violations.
Well, that's true, right? This whole the whole
just a
patent
patent.
system right now is based on mutually assured destruction.
Exactly.
I patent things not because I care, but because I want to be able to have some leverage against somebody coming at me with a patent suit. So Paul Allen's kind of ruining the game by launching these against everybody with. There's really no retaliation.
This is what happens nowadays with the patents. It's a crapshoot. You might win, you might lose. Paul's got enough money to file these suits and see what happens. He could lose. It's unpredictable. That's the problem. You don't know what the courts are going to do.
My guess it's somebody at Vulcan Financial, Vulcan being Paul Allen's company, who said we need to do this.
Paul's sister.
Yeah. Is it Paul's sister?
Yeah.
God, I haven't thought about that whole thing in a while.
What's the business? What's the business manager guy?
No, he's gone.
He's gone.
His sister
now,
took
so
over. He was
took
gone years ago.
Okay.
The guy we used to see haunting the halls of Tech TV.
Right.
You'd see him, you'd go, oh, God, he's here.
Let's all be
was
really,
12.
really glad we're not on anyone's legal team for this. Because that sounds like
Oh, no,
a
they'll
few
know.
years
Yeah,
of a
they're
lot
going to
of...
make
They're
bank.
the winners in this, guaranteed.
But that's not fun
No,
work.
depositions.
It
That
is
is
for
not
them.
fun. Well, I guess so. Depends on
You're
who you
into
are.
Diaspora, the open source Facebook alternative, has announced a launch date, September 15th. The developers said they would make their code open source and available for anyone to use.
I'm really interested about this because it's like there was a lot of fanfare back when Facebook's privacy issues were really big. And
They
it's
got my
like,
money.
Yeah, open source project, cool. Yeah, the Kickstarter project.
$200,000 they got off.
Mark
Kickstarter.
Zuckerberg supposedly also donated to
That's
that.
That's
You're kidding.
The report
No.
is that he kicked in.
Here's a couple of bucks, kid, go away.
Yeah, why not? Just see what you can do.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
You want a piece of me? Give it a go. But it's like, so they got a lot of attention, and then I hadn't heard about it for a while, and now it's sort of like, yeah, we're still here.
They've
We're
been
gonna
releasing.
launch.
They've been releasing candidates for a while. They've been. You know, these are 3 NYU students, and I imagine they have some help at this point. Once that happened on Kickstarter, every open source project in the world said, "We'll be glad to help you. You guys have 200,000. We'll be glad to help you." So I'm glad they came out with something. School's starting in a couple of days. They're going back to school. So
Yeah.
here you go. Here's our.
Well, they wrote on their blog that they've got it working. They like it. They wanted to build clear contextual sharing, meaning an intuitive way for users to decide and not notice deciding what content goes to their coworkers and what goes to their drinking buddies. We know that's a hard problem, and we take it seriously. So this idea of privacy is central to their development.
And they're definitely playing it down. We've worked on it, and we like it, and we'll be releasing it in September. So if it's amazing, it'll just be that much more amazing. And if it kind of comes out with a whimper, then there wasn't so much buildup.
And why wouldn't Zuckerberg donate to this? It's an open source project. It could benefit him as much as anybody else. Not that he needs it, but it's good PR to say, yeah, I'll kick in a few bucks, and he can take that open source code and look at it and get ideas from it
I'd
just
like to know
anybody else.
how many bucks actually he donated.
Here's a $3,000 check, and now they own 80% of Facebook. It's kind of neat.
That's right. Well, they haven't been able to put the check online yet. They need to scan it, but it's getting very close. Google's been buying up lots of interesting little social networking companies. The latest, Sarah, you noticed was Angstro. This is Rohit Khair's company.
Yeah, Angstro was a way to extract data from well, it did a lot of things, but one of them was a way to extract search and user data from Facebook and other sites. So it's really interesting that Google not only took over Angstro, but has absorbed that team. I think there's just a couple
It's
of
the
them.
guy. It's the
Yeah.
Angstro guy.
It's an acquire, as they call it right now.
A what?
An acquire, where you acquire in order to hire.
Acquire.
You sound like Ariana Stasinopoulos Huffington for a while. Oh, darling, it's an acquire.
It's an acquire. Yeah, that's the way they wrote it in paid content.
Yeah.
ACQ-HIRE.
Yeah, it's this one guy, I think.
Max Levchin also now working on the sort of Google Me project.
Yeah. I think Me is real. I think Me is going to be very interesting.
It's obviously real.
Yeah.
Whether it's called Me or whatever it is, there is a social networking strategy going on. And why wouldn't there be? Of course there would be.
Our Google profiles already. I mean, I wish I could do more in there, but it's got a good start anyway.
Malik had a post recently where he said that what they need to do is build on Gmail, which is what they did with Buzz, and they boofed it. But maybe they learned from that because that is the platform everyone's using. And he's pointing to the recent Google Voice integration as one that they've done right, and they could continue to add things to Gmail as a platform, and that's how they go after Facebook.
You know, one of the businesses that this Angstro did was that you could use it to extract your data from Facebook. So it could be that all they bought really was a way for people to say, I'm moving my Facebook account to Google Me. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I'm in Gmail.
There've been
It
lawsuits
becomes
over
my
these
Google
kinds of
Me
things.
platform, and all my Facebook status updates and everything I need from Facebook shows up there. Why would I ever visit Facebook again?
Yeah. So I say to my mom, Mom, come over here. And she goes, no, but I've got all this stuff on Facebook. Well, that's okay. You just press a
move it over.
button and it's like you just move. And
Any
she'll go,
good-
okay, because that's the better one, right?
Any
okay.
good solution to succeed has to interoperate with Facebook. It has to mean that mom can stay on Facebook and you'd still be able to talk to her and see her stuff, and she'd be able to see your stuff on Google Meet. Otherwise, it's hopeless. You're never going to, it's the days of moving people from MySpace to Facebook. You're not going to see that again. That's not going to happen.
Is there a way for Facebook to be okay with that? Is there a way for their
Sure.
monetization to carry over to where Google's still selling ads on the side and they make their cut, but Facebook doesn't lose anything?
Absolutely. If you look how Places has incorporated Foursquare and Yelp and now Scavenger, it's clear that Facebook, it's kind of like Google. They think they win no matter what.
Right.
You know, you go ahead, use social media. You'll end up on our site.
Oh, and that's what the big battle is going to be: is whose site do you use? This is actually, in some ways, the end of the big portal battle.
In a way, it is. Yeah.
You know,
well, if this interoperability happens,
It could be, right?
it's what I want to have happen. But you know, right now, Facebook's saying no. All comes to us. I think it's fine for Facebook to say whatever, use whatever you want, because they know it's like Twitter saying, "Oh, Buzz, go ahead, use Buzz if you want."
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a small minority of people, and make those people happy, and still all the traffic goes through Facebook.
It's always where the people are. That's what matters. And Google's got a lot of people, so they're one of the few people who can
It's
come
made
in.
of
They've
people.
got a lot of people, but they're
Spoilers.
not running my social network life at this point. That's
Not
for
yet.
sure. Not yet. I'd like them to, though. If I had a choice, I'd go through Google for just about everything.
I would like to jailbreak my PS3, but if I'm in Australia, I won't be able to buy a USB stick to do so. Sony has gotten Australian court to issue an injunction against a company that was going to sell the USB sticks that jailbreak the PS3, the little dongle things you plug in. The temporary injunction prevents them from distributing the devices to another person, offering them to the public, providing them to another person. I don't know what the difference between those distributing and providing, I guess, but and otherwise dealing in them in any way until they review this in court. Now, the interesting thing here is mod chips are actually legal in Australia.
And they're not legal here
Because
or
they
in the
don't,
UK, correct?
they don't have a DMCA-like law where circumventing copyright protection is illegal on the device level. It's only violating copyright protection that's illegal. So it's not illegal to sell you a USB dongle for this. It's illegal for you to use it and make copies of your discs, which is what you need to, which you should have the fair use right to do. But you
But
know,
right
that
now,
aside.
while we're in limbo, Sony's got the right to take all this stuff off of shelves. Well, or however, whatever virtual shelves these sticks are being offered on, right? So right now, Sony gets to gobble up everything until they figure out how to fix this.
Now, this doesn't impact anyone outside of Australia.
Not yet, but I think what Sony's doing is like, we need to go after this, crush
by
it
one.
there. Once we've
Yeah.
crushed it in Australia, we can easily crush it everywhere else.
Is the company in Australia that they've got the injunction against?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why they went to Australia. Got it. That means
they're-
that probably you can't buy it
Yeah,
because you'd have to go through Australian commerce
because they would
channels
have to
get
distribute it,
Yeah.
to somewhere else.
So they're
But that-
stopped,
That code's
effectively.
going to get out somehow, and somebody else is going to have a stick. The other thing that Sony gets to do is they get to take possession of every USB stick in stock.
Oh, interesting.
Which means they can then examine it and figure out how to make the next firmware update that will break
Right.
this jailbreak. I think that's the
or
second
they could
big
just
thing they get.
They
out
could
of
have just bought one.
it. It would have been a lot cheaper, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Just send us one over.
Well,
here.
obviously, if that's all they wanted, they would have just bought
Right.
one. But they also want to.
I think they also want to crush them under a giant bulldozer as well.
Exactly. That's exactly what they want to do. All right, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, Slingbox. Slingbox is a way of getting your TV that you already pay for anywhere you want it. So it doesn't matter where you go. If you've got an internet connection, in fact, if you've got a phone, your mobile phone,
Yeah.
you can watch it.
I think the Android app they've got now may be the best one of all of the Slingbox.
What do you
apps.
like about the Android app over the other ones?
It's just easy to use. You got, of course, and it's nice because you have a big Android screen on the Evo or on the Droid X. So this is not as big as a iPad, but it's bigger than an iPhone, and so you really get that kind of nice. I think this is just about right for, like, if I lie on my back and I do that. I can watch TV anywhere.
And so the idea is you take the Slingbox, you hook it up to your internet connection at home, you hook it up to your TV connection at home, and then wherever you go, whether you got the phone or your iPad or your laptop or whatever, you can watch your TV. Now, on iPad, you have to use the iPhone app, but they're coming with an iPad app soon. And you'll watch everything you get. You don't have to pay extra for it. Everything you have on your DVR, everything coming in over your cable connection.
Well, you
wherever
already
you
paid
go.
for it. You should get to watch it anywhere you want.
That's what Slingbox does. Check it out at a Best Buy near you or at slingbox.com/twit.
Best thing ever happened to your TV.
I use it all the time. Guess who's trying to trademark the word face? I'll give you one
Let's
guess.
think.
We've mentioned him already on this show once.
Because they wanted the word book. So now they got both.
Yeah. We haven't really talked about the fact that Facebook has been suing TeachBook over the name book.
That's what really bugs me.
And now, according to TechCrunch, they're trying to file a trademark on the word face.
Ridiculous.
So once they in court, they prove that they own book, and then they own
ridiculous.
face. Then they'll own face and book.
So can I just ask a really stupid question?
Please.
What about Apple's FaceTime?
Well, that's an interesting point, right? The thing that I'm sorry.
Because who's really confused by the two of them? Isn't that that would be the whole argument? Is
When I look at
we own
FaceTime,
this
I
and
think I'm
we
on
don't want the
Facebook all the
public.
time. I'm like trying to type status messages, and then I realize,
I'm
oh
not
wait, I'm
doing
talking to
anything.
someone.
What's my status? I need to stalk my ex-girlfriend. No.
You may know Aaron Greenspan as being one of the characters
Not to
in
be
the
confused
upcoming
with Alan
The Social
Greenspan.
Network movie. He's the man who claimed to help create Facebook and later settled out of court with Zuckerberg. He is objecting to this trademark, not just because maybe he doesn't like Mark Zuckerberg anymore, but he runs a company called Face Cash. Facebook gets the trademark on Face, then he wouldn't be able to call his company Face Cash. Well, and that's the problem. You wouldn't be able to call any company or anything Face anything.
Would Facebook start suing drill sergeants when they say about face?
No, it would only be internet companies that are doing this social media thing. It would only be in their particular space. But it's ridiculous.
The French-American Cultural Exchange could come under fire.
Is there such a thing?
There is.
Wow. Face.
Yeah. Face.com, face recognition for the masses, done.
I can't imagine a court would give them this.
No, it's ridiculous.
The problem really is that Facebook itself is very generic. There have been Facebooks for a long time. Harvard had a Facebook before Facebook came along. And Clinton DeWitt, who's on Buzz, says he wrote one for Williams 10 years before that, and they called it the Facebook. So, I mean, these physical Facebooks have been around colleges for a long time. I think that's the real problem, is that Facebook can't even trademark Facebook.
Well, it would be like calling your service Yearbook.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
generic.
trying to trademark Yearbook because you got really successful with that name.
Right, or a music service called Song.
They should have misspelled it the way Google did.
Facebook. No way.
Facebook.
Facebook.
I would think that this would just be a way to bully Greenspan a little bit more, except that they've already started with book. It's not really about face.
Well, they've also filed 14 applications to trademark the word like.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, see, these don't. I think
worse.
that I'm no lawyer, but I think that this is a generic term. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are definitely cases where a generic term in a narrow sense could be a trademark.
Right.
And should be. But it has to be a very narrow sense, and these don't sound like very narrow senses. Saying that I can't call an online service anything with the word face in it,
that's hard to
in a
believe.
world of cameras and online video, doesn't make any sense. Saying like is mine, and if I want to mark something liked anywhere on the internet that I can't, it's not narrow enough.
No, it's crazy. They chose the word like because they wanted it to be something familiar that people were comfortable with and that made sense.
Yeah.
You can't trademark an action.
I can trademark dig
that
because I
applies
spelled
to
it
the
with
general
2
public.
G's. Well, I can't, but Kevin can. But you can't trademark like.
No. That's just it's a way you feel. That's manipulative.
That's why Sci-Fi changed their name to Siffy.
Siffy, because they could trademark it.
Because they could trademark it, yeah.
Do people say Siffy?
No, it's Sci-Fi.
Oh.
I do.
I was going to say.
It's
But it's
spelled
just to
Siffy.
distinguish it, so you know what I'm talking about. Because if you say sci-fi, they'll be like, that's sci-fi. What's the difference between sci-fi and sci-fi? And then it gets really confusing.
Uh-huh.
So that's why it's a rhetorical device, saying Siffy.
How about swi-fwy?
How about why?
Sounds like you have a little speech impediment.
I do.
Why, Sarah? Why?
The U.S. Federal Trade Commission has ruled against a marketing firm that posted favorable reviews of its clients' gaming applications on iTunes. Reverb Communications is accused of having their employees pose as ordinary reviewers. Their head says, no. We just have employees who really liked the games that we were employed to market.
Bush League.
And they went and they did reviews. I didn't tell them to do that.
Did they say they worked for the company when they gave their very unbiased reviews? So that's the problem. Come on, you guys know better. How embarrassing.
Companies, including public relation firms involved in online marketing, need to abide by long-held principles of truth in advertising, said Mary Engel, director of the FTC's Division of Advertising Practices.
Is that an advertisement, though? It's a review.
Well, that's a good point, right? It's one thing to say advertisers should not pass themselves off as ordinary consumers, but am I not allowed to review anything? I think the main thing here is what Sarah said, though, is you need to, if you do a review, disclose.
But
that,
it's an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
It's not a law. It's an unwritten rule. It's an understood rule. For instance, we wouldn't review our own podcasts on iTunes. Many do, I'm sure. And it's not illegal. It's just not done.
Well, the FTC's saying it's a rule.
It's a rule.
It's almost like enough of an endorsement that it is an advertisement.
Right.
Yeah, advertisers should not pass themselves off as ordinary customers touting a product, and endorsers should make it clear when they have financial connections to sellers.
Well, that's true.
So in that way, it's similar, although there's no fiduciary interest in writing an iTunes review. But I guess
certainly in radio, that's called plugola. If you play a song that you have a financial interest in, or even said, hey, there's a great concert coming up tonight, without disclosing, it's okay
that's
to do it.
That's the plugola, is when you say, like, oh, you know, I love Ray's Fish Shack.
Right.
And you're getting paid by Ray's Fish Shack.
But that's radio. That's a very constrained environment. I wonder, does that apply to reviews?
Apparently,
reviews? I guess
Mary Engel seems to imply that it does.
Interesting.
Not Laura.
I have liked my own Facebook page.
Well,
but that's public knowledge. You look in all the fans, and I'm one of them.
I have marked unfavorable reviews as unhelpful, but they aren't.
They're not helpful to you.
That's true.
Wow. We really could we stretch this pretty far. If you check into your own home in Foursquare, is that okay?
You know what's not okay?
I just
learned
my
this.
Own house.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be mayor of your own house.
What?
That's what somebody who's close to the sources told me.
Who's writing these unwritten rules?
I don't know.
Well,
I think
not.
that's stupid. What I said is, who's supposed to be mayor of my own house if it isn't me?
Somebody else is mayor of my house.
Who?
Some woman at O'Reilly. She noticed I stopped checking in.
So she just drives by? It's a drive-by check-in?
I guess she must live nearby and she checks in.
Well, that's a
She's
faux
the
pas.
mayor. It's a little weird.
Also weird is that when hackers crash Windows in the course of developing malware, they often accidentally agree to send the virus code straight to Microsoft. It's that little dialog box that pops
Would you
up.
like to send this to Microsoft?
They're just getting as click happy as everybody who uses their malware gets. And, okay, yeah, fine.
It just shows you how stupid these people are.
Senior security architect Rocky Heckman of Microsoft said it's amazing how much stuff we get. He also talked about how Microsoft.com is a common target for people testing their attacks.
Oh, sure.
And they get on average of 7,000 to 9,000 attacks per second.
Per second.
Microsoft.com. I wonder if there's a more common domain than
to
Microsoft.
Attack.
Yeah.
We always pinged Yahoo. For some reason, that was what you'd always ping Yahoo.
Yeah.
I suppose the younger kids today ping Google. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you ping?
I don't know. Ping FM.
Yeah.
I like that ping.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, both of these things are two sides of the same coin. Is I'm developing my malware, I'm testing it out. I need a default, the hello world of testing my malware is to attack Microsoft.com. And when I'm not paying attention, when I'm doing the same behavior I'm hoping to take advantage of.
Oh, you just crashed. Would you like to send a report to Microsoft?
I'm not even going to read that. Yeah, sure, send it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Make your product better. Wait, no.
It's hysterical that Microsoft is getting the source code for these things.
All right, let's move on to the news fuse.
Wow.
Apple has ended a decade-long partnership with engineering design firm Surface Inc. after the latter showed off a tablet prototype of its own, according to the New York Times. Surface Inc. recently unveiled a 12.1-inch Linux-based tablet, which CEO Erik Boswell says Apple viewed as a threat.
On Friday morning, Dell announced that storage company 3PAR had accepted Dell's third acquisition offer, this one at $27 per share. That bid matched a counter offer from HP, which came Thursday afternoon. 2 hours after that, HP upped its offer to $30 a share.
Bing bong.
That would put the total value of a 3PAR acquisition at about $2 billion. So 3PAR must feel very loved.
But nobody's got them yet.
Everybody's fighting over them.
What do you get for $10 a month? Not 3PAR. You get a Hulu Plus subscription. But is it worth the money? Research firm One Touch Intelligence says the paid service gets you 14% more full-length episodes.
Wow.
14%. Now, you see that in the ad. That number crosses all shows. Some fare better than others. There's no Law & Order for free, but you do get 191 episodes of Law & Order in the paid version. See, that's worthwhile.
That's a divide by zero error.
That's worth. Boy, I'll tell you, that's a lot of Law & Order.
A project called Droid has created a version of Android compatible with Nokia's internet tablets. Android 1.6 can run on the Nokia N810. A stable version of Android 2.2 has been developed for the Nokia N900. And everything is pretty much functional on the N810. The N900 can't make calls or change screen brightness, and they've had some camera issues here and there too. But the N770, the N800, N810, and the N900 all have been attempted. So check out Droid.
I'm blowing the dust off my N900.
If your longhand cursive isn't looking so good these days, it could be worse. Children in China and Japan suffer from character amnesia when asked to write the complex characters they're so used to inputting via alphabet-based systems. China Youth Daily polled 2,072 people and found that 83% have problems writing the characters out. A young woman who was interviewed by AFP explained her workaround. When I can't remember, I'll just take up my cell phone and find it, the character, and then I copy it down.
You know where your nearest VHS video store is? Around the corner, right? Is there one anywhere near you? Maybe one or fewer. LA Times is reporting executives from Blockbuster met with 6 major movie studios last week to discuss a pre-planned bankruptcy in mid-September. Blockbuster hopes to restructure a debt load of nearly $1 billion and escape leases on 500 or more of its U.S. stores. Bye-bye. Blockbuster needs the support of Hollywood's film studios for an uninterrupted supply of new DVDs during the bankruptcy process.
Please don't cut us off. Netflix will kill us.
It's pretty much...
there is one around the corner from my house.
Is there?
I can't wait for it to be something else.
There was a movie store just down the street, and one day they were gone, and we had all these movies. We just kept them.
There you go.
Cool.
We didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
If they come at me with late fees, though, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, just to declare bankruptcy.
Yeah, there you go.
Good news for the Sony PS3. A new game console is coming so they can be in last place. Lenovo has developed a game console called eBox that will launch in China by the end of the year, according to the Wall Street Journal. Lenovo recently split off a team of employees into a newly formed game company, Beijing Edu Technology. According to the journal, those employees built the eBox with Microsoft Kinect-like functionality.
But
so
no
if
games.
it works, that might be interesting.
Warner Brothers and Disney have teamed up to sue Triton Media, accusing the company of both contributory and induced copyright infringement because Triton provides sites with advertising and referral income to 9 sites that the studios consider one-stop shops for illegal copies of the studio's work.
So now just providing advertising to a site can get you in trouble.
Don't do it.
They will sue anybody. Finally, a developer did something that I find hilarious. He went to the Pirate Bay. He found a copy of his software available on the Pirate Bay in a cracked version, which he normally sells for $30 after you've enjoyed a 30-day free trial. It's called Memoirs. It's a way to keep a journal on your Mac. The developer, instead of accusing the Pirate Bay of assisting copyright violations, said he's upset because the cracked version was really bad. It's called Minamoto, the cracker who did the cracking. And so he wrote in an email, I demand that you don't remove this torrent so that people can laugh at Minamoto and core skills. However, I also demand that a better crack be made so that if it doesn't cripple the user experience of my beautiful program.
This crack is a mockery.
No crack.
Make sure to keep that crack promoted so that you can mock this man with his horrible cracking. However, I do not want to be impinged by his bad coding.
Keep the crack, but laugh.
Take the cannoli.
All right, moving on to the calendar. Verizon is confirming Android 2.2 update is out for Droid Incredible today. But you haven't gotten yours, Holly.
No, I'm on Droid X. I don't have an Incredible.
All right.
That's good news, though. I mean, I've been waiting on the Droid X. I keep checking it every 5 minutes to see if there's an update.
Also good news for comic book readers because tomorrow is International Read a Comic in Public Day. Tom, are you going to be reading your comics in public?
Yeah, I'm reading The Unwritten, Volume 2, The Inside Man right now. It's a great graphic novel I picked up off of a Cory Doctorow recommendation on Boing Boing. So I'm going to go over to my shopping center, grab a burger, sit outside.
What will the geo-coordinates be so people can go read their comics in public with you?
Oh, yeah, I'll Twitter those.
Okay,
Yeah.
Is it okay to do it on your iPad, or do you have to have a physical
No,
comic?
we were talking about that when we first mentioned this.
Comic
I
app,
think you have to. I think you have to use a book.
But I read Comixology.
Because I use Comixology for almost everything. The Unwritten isn't available. That's why I chose it. But if you're just reading an iPad, I guess you have to sit there and go, I'm reading a comic book.
I don't.
Not just surfing the web, reading a comic book.
International Read a Comic in Public Day. That's an open-ended day.
I'm going to read Bobcat Goldthwait.
There you go.
Out loud, in his voice.
He's a comic.
Malcon's coming to Mumbai on December 3rd and also on December 5th at Club Hack in Pune, India. Bruce Schneider will speak.
Schneider. There's
sorry.
no D.
Will speak
in
at
team.
the December 5th.
He's not the guy from
Schneider.
That's Schneider, the handyman.
The soup.
Did I say Schneider?
Schneider, yeah.
Schneider. Sorry.
Anyway, it's a first attempt to do ethical malware the way they've done ethical hacking conferences. Really interesting.
You know who else is involved in this? Brian Krebs. I'm glad to see he's still doing stuff. He was a really great guy at the Washington Post. I don't know what happened. They let him go, or he stopped working for him.
Yeah,
now he does his own
writing
thing.
it up today.
Yep.
TWiT will be at DragonCon. Myself and Brian Brushwood will be there. There's going to be a live NSFW in front of a live audience on Friday. We're going to be doing Sword and Laser on Sunday. And then the rest of the day, me and Brian will be walking around streaming live right here on twit.tv. We're doing a meetup Saturday night. So if you're in Atlanta, whether you're going to DragonCon or not, RSVP to Lisa at twit.tv and come out to the Sundial Restaurant at 6 p.m. Saturday night, September 4th.
Do not send it to Bart at twit.tv because he loses them. Lisa at twit.tv. She's much better organized. And can I add something to the calendar? At 5 o'clock this afternoon, about 1 hour and a half from now, we're going to do Government 2.0. We'll look at transparency, the future of government. Tim O'Reilly, who wrote a book on it and has a conference coming up, will be in studio with us with a number of other great people to talk about transparency in government.
Are we going to make that on demand afterwards?
That will be a special at twit.tv/specials.
So if you're hearing this podcast on Saturday, you can still watch it.
It's not too late.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, 260-TNT show is our voicemail address. It's not our email address. That'd be weird. It'd be like a CompuServe address or something. Tony from New Zealand gave us a call using his Gmail chat.
Ooh. And it sounds so good.
Hey guys, this is Tony from New Zealand. Love the show. This is me using the Gmail chat. Apparently it's available outside the States as well. Just had fun ringing my landline, and now I thought I'd give you guys a call. Love the show. Keep it up. Cheers.
Yeah, all right. It was a little globally. Yeah. That's the New Zealand bandwidth.
Maybe he was just underwater.
Yeah, their bandwidth is pretty bad. Everybody complains.
I wouldn't know. I don't.
Or he might have been snorkeling.
Tom and I got Google Voice moments before the show started.
I was going to complain that Tony from New Zealand had it and I still didn't, but then I got it right before the show started.
So now I can complain that you, Tony, and Sarah have it and I don't have it.
Exactly.
Did you almost call me Larry?
Larry.
Sarah Larry.
I call him Curly.
Sarah the cable guy.
Just think of me as Mo.
On to the emails to TNT at twit.tv. Davey wrote in and said, the difference between net neutrality and connection choice is puzzling to me. With the recent discussion about the ISP providing gamers with a lower latency connection, it led me to think about the differences, if any, between net neutrality and my ability to choose my connection preferences. Today, we commonly have a difference of speeds we can choose from. This ISP offering lower latency is a choice that their customers can choose. How is that different than the choices between speeds? If I want higher speeds, I can choose a faster service, and if I want lower speeds, I can choose a slower service. How is this different than saying I would like lower latency? For me, I want to have more customization of my connection, choosing the different latency up and download speeds that I want, but how does that play into having an open internet?
No, you see, I think he misunderstands net neutrality. It doesn't mean that you can't get something better than you've already got. It just means you can't get something worse than you've already got.
Well, what's going on with this UK ISP is they're guaranteeing lower latency, no charging against your bandwidth cap, and a few other things for certain gaming companies that they're peering with.
They're peering with them.
And a lot of people are saying, that's net neutrality violation.
No, of course
You're
not.
giving them preference.
Well, see, that's why I don't like the word net
but
neutrality.
But they're paying more for it.
What we really don't want is net discrimination. It's not that we don't want better service. It's just that we don't want worse service for other people, right? So you don't want an ISP to say, well, if you're going to play Team Fortress, we're going to slow you down. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to play our game, we're going to speed you up. But it's fine to offer value-added services. You have to be able to do that.
Well, and I think the effective concern is how do you get that faster service for these companies, and then I'm stuck playing with another company and I don't get the good service. Am I going to be degraded because you're prioritizing all those packets to the other company?
That's an interesting question. I mean, this case is peering, so it just means they have a direct connection.
And that's the key that I don't think a lot of people are. I didn't take into account.
I don't think it would
when
cost,
we first talked about this.
It would cost anybody else that they have this faster connection
because of the peering arrangement.
Yeah,
it's a different.
Well, a lot of ISPs, even in the States, run servers themselves. So if you want to play Team Fortress and your ISP has its own servers, it's going to work better to play on the servers that are local to your ISP. But that's always been that way.
Well, you were
That's
saying
not
in
a
the
net
prep,
neutrality
it's like
issue.
running a server in your own house.
Yeah.
That doesn't
that violates
violate
net neutrality.
Yeah.
You can't run your own server. It's not that you can't get better service. You just can't get worse service.
On to the next email.
This next one from Samir, who says, I'm guessing the music downloads, referring to Deezer, are not included on the 1 gigabyte internet cap because it's not the internet. Cell tower, telecom wired infrastructure, and music servers that they now own is similar to an intranet. It's a music service not that different from TV on copper-based triple play. It's all data, but IPTV, VoIP, telecom services aren't counted. I prefer telecoms playing the game with their own media services than trying to change the rules of the game.
And that,
Verizon,
I don't know how they're implementing Deezer, but that could very well be the case, that they're running entirely inside and away from the internet.
There are a lot of services. Vcast does it on Verizon. You don't use the public internet, I don't think, for Vcast or Flow TV. Those are all using other bandwidths.
I think Flow uses a different way of broadcasting.
They use UHF.
They use a UHF signal,
Yeah, I
right?
can't remember which channel. But
60 Vcast, I think, is just internally broadcast by Verizon.
Right.
So,
again, neither case public internet's used.
You want to pick up the last email, Leo?
I certainly would like to. This is from Phil from City, my old friend. He says, hey, guys, when Google rolled out their free calls from Gmail to any number in the U.S. and Canada, it got me thinking. Actually, he said, it got me thinking. First, they got their Android phones out. He didn't say that either. First, they got their Android phones out into the market as broadly as possible. Then, they provide a way for Gmail users to get free calls. What's stopping them from taking the next step and providing data-only phones to their customers? This would be perfect for people that spend most of their time in Wi-Fi areas that seldom make phone calls, and Google can sell the plans cheaply. Love the show, Phil from Sydney. Now, that makes sense. I mean, if you didn't have minutes on oh, my wife's calling. If you didn't have minutes on an Android phone, it wouldn't matter because you could use Google Voice for everything. So as long as you had either 3G or Wi-Fi.
But who's offering data-only plans?
Sprint, I think, has one. I feel like T-Mobile might have had one for a while. A lot of times you can't get certain phones on the data-only plans, but they are out there.
You know, if you had a MiFi and an iPod Touch, oh, wait a minute, Apple doesn't allow Google Voice. If you had a MiFi and an Android phone without any phone plan.
Well, you can do Google Voice over the web. So on the
through the web. That's right.
Yeah.
They have a little loophole.
They just don't have an application for it.
Right.
But that's more expensive than just having, like, say, a $40 a month data only plan. That Google, he's saying Google would offer it.
Right.
I'm not sure that Google gets in the plan business, especially after their experience with Nexus One.
No, but right now I can use the Google Voice on my Android phone and say make all calls through Google Voice.
Right.
So it won't use any minutes, period.
So all that's left here to make Phil happy is to have Verizon say, you don't have to pay for phone calls anymore. We'll sell you just data.
Or sell me 10 minutes a month or something.
Yeah, something really
emergency.
It'd be perfect for me. I hate talking on the phone.
All right, well, that's it. Thanks, Leo. This is your first official time on TNT. Appreciate it.
And I'll be back in a couple of years, so thank you for inviting me.
He had that much fun, folks.
I loved it.
Don't forget to find us on the web at twit.tv/TNT. You can email us TNT@twit.tv and give us a call. It's a free call in Butler, Indiana. 260-TNT-SHOW. We'll see you Monday.
Is that the home office?
Yeah.